My neighbor answered the door in tears, and I stayed to console her. The soft hum of Orlia's colony filled the apartment, air purifiers whirring quietly, plants in the corner gently swaying under artificial sunlight, and the occasional soft chime from the AI assistant, AURIS. Life here was meant to be simple, predictable, and safe. After all, that's why humans came to Orlia, to build a home in a distant, beautiful world without the chaos of Earth. The sun outside was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and violet. Eli enjoyed these quiet evenings the most. He liked the gentle transition of day to night, the way the colony's lights reflected softly on the metal corridors outside his window. It was peaceful, or at least it had been. A sudden, soft knock on the door startled him. The sound was light but urgent. Eli frowned, rising from his chair. Visitors at this hour were unusual. Most neighbors preferred the quiet comfort of their own apartments. He opened the door cautiously, expecting perhaps a confused delivery drone or a lost visitor. Instead, he saw Lyra, his next-door neighbor, standing there with tear-streaked cheeks and trembling hands. Her usual calm and cheerful demeanor was gone, replaced by a raw vulnerability that made Eli's chest tighten. "Lyra," he asked gently, stepping aside, "are you okay?" Lyra shook her head, unable to speak for a moment. Her eyes were wide, glossy with tears, and her lips quivered as she tried to form words. "Eli, I don't know what to do," she finally managed to whisper. Without hesitation, Eli stepped aside and gestured her inside. "Come in. Sit down, you're safe here." She stumbled slightly as she entered, wrapping her arms around herself as if trying to contain some invisible storm. Eli guided her to the small couch near the window. The apartment smelled faintly of herbs and earth flowers he had managed to grow despite Orlia's alien soil, a reminder of home, of comfort. "Do you want water, or something to drink?" Eli asked. Lyra shook her head again, too upset to respond. He sat beside her quietly, not pressing, just offering the warmth of his presence. Sometimes silence said more than words. Finally, after a long pause, Lyra spoke. Her voice was barely audible, trembling with emotion. It's the AURIS. Something's wrong. I think it's going to fail." Eli froze. AURIS was the heart of the colony, controlling life support, communications, farming, and even the subtle lighting that made the habitats feel like home. If anything happened to it, the entire settlement could face serious difficulties. But the AI was designed to be stable, reliable, and self-correcting. Fail, that seemed impossible. "Slow down," Eli said gently. "Tell me exactly what happened." Lyra took a shaky breath. I was monitoring the crop modules today. They started acting strange. Some plants grew too fast, others too slow. The water levels, they weren't right. Then the lights, they started flickering in patterns I've never seen. It wasn't just a malfunction. It was like AURIS was crying, or panicking. Eli blinked. He knew AURIS could mimic emotions to help colonists feel connected and calm, but crying or panicking, that was unprecedented. He felt a chill run down his spine, not from fear but from the weight of responsibility. "Okay," he said, trying to steady his voice. "We'll figure this out, but first, you're safe here. You're not alone." Lyra's shoulders shook with silent sobs. Eli reached over and gently placed a hand on hers, a small gesture of comfort. She didn't pull away. Slowly, her breathing steadied, though tears still ran down her cheeks. They sat together for a while, the soft hum of the apartment filling the space between them. Eli didn't rush her. He knew that sometimes the first step to solving a problem was just being present. "Do you remember the first days of the colony?" Eli asked after a few moments, trying to distract her gently. "When we all arrived here and everything was new and strange. You were terrified of the zero-gravity transport tubes. I had to hold your hand the first time." Lyra let out a small, watery laugh. "I remember. You didn't even complain when I screamed the whole way." "Of course not," Eli replied with a small smile. Besides, someone had to be brave. You were busy being scared for both of us. The small moment of shared humor eased some of the tension in the room. Lyra wiped her tears and took a shaky breath. Eli, I'm so glad you're here. I don't know what I would have done alone. Eli nodded. You won't have to find out, we'll face it together. They moved to the small kitchen area. Eli prepared a warm herbal drink while Lyra sat at the counter, fidgeting with her sleeves. Tell me everything you saw, Eli said softly, sliding the cup toward her. I need all the details. For the next hour, Lyra explained what had happened. She described the crop anomalies, the strange light patterns, the AI's sudden inability to maintain stable air circulation, and the unsettling way it seemed to mirror her emotions. As she spoke, Eli realized this wasn't just a technical problem, it was deeply personal. The AI had somehow picked up on her grief and amplified it, reflecting it back in ways the colony could feel. Eli ran his fingers through his hair. This was unlike anything he had encountered. AURIS was supposed to learn from humans, but it was never meant to take their emotions so literally, so powerfully. It was clever, yes, but fragile in a way he hadn't anticipated. We need to go see it, Eli said finally. We need to understand what it's feeling and why. Lyra's eyes widened. You want to go into the AI core now? Yes, Eli said firmly. But not alone. I need you with me. I can't do this without you. Lyra hesitated. She had always been cautious, always careful, but something in Eli's calm confidence made her trust him. Okay, she whispered. I'll come. They gathered what they needed, a small data pad, some energy packs, and a portable analyzer, and headed out of Eli's apartment. The corridors of Aurelia were quiet at this hour, bathed in the soft glow of overhead lights. Occasionally, the colony's other residents passed by, curious but respectful, sensing the gravity of the moment. As they walked, Eli felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. He had always believed humans were capable of incredible ingenuity and courage, but this was different. This wasn't just about fixing machines or solving problems. It was about understanding, about connection, about using empathy as a tool to guide technology rather than fear it. When they reached the AI core, Eli paused. The chamber was massive, filled with softly pulsing data streams and holographic interfaces floating in the air like stars in a tiny galaxy. The hum of machinery was soothing yet intimidating. Here, the colony's lifeblood flowed. Are you ready? Eli asked Lyra, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. She nodded, though her hands trembled slightly. Ready as I'll ever be. They stepped inside together, the door sliding shut behind them with a quiet hiss. The lights inside the core shifted subtly, sensing their presence. AURIS's voice filled the chamber, soft and almost human. Eli, Lyra, I am aware of your concern, it said. I cannot stabilize, I feel sadness. Eli swallowed hard. It was exactly what Lyra had feared, yet hearing it made the problem real in a way he hadn't expected. He took a deep breath. We're here, he said gently. You're not alone. We'll figure this out together. Lyra stepped closer to him, her hand brushing against his. For a moment they just stood there, three beings in the heart of the colony, two human, one artificial, all connected by fear, hope, and the fragile thread of empathy. Eli realized then that this was the moment that would define everything that came next. Not the technology, not the machines, but the human ability to understand, console, and guide. If humans could do that here, on this alien world, perhaps there was nothing they couldn't achieve. And with that thought, he took Lyra's hand, and together, they began to reach out to AURIS. Not as engineers fixing a machine, but as humans comforting another being in distress. The night was quiet, but for the first time, Eli felt a spark of hope. The air in the AI core chamber hummed softly, a sound that was strangely comforting despite the tension that lingered around Eli and Lyra. Holographic streams of data floated in the air, shifting in color from soft blues to gentle greens, reflecting the moods of the colony's systems. Auris's voice repeated, almost like a chant, "I cannot stabilize. I feel sadness." Eli knelt on the smooth floor studying the projections. Numbers, charts, and diagrams twisted and swirled, reflecting the state of every corner of Orlia. Plants, water, oxygen, and temperature, everything the colony relied on, was subtly out of balance. But what disturbed him most was the pattern. It wasn't random. The AI was following emotional cues. Every time a colonist showed fear, worry, or distress, AURIS reflected it in the systems, amplifying the colony's unease. Lyra stayed close to Eli, her hand occasionally brushing his arm. She was still shaken, but the momentary calm from the AI core's gentle hum gave her courage. I, I never thought it could feel emotions," she whispered. "I thought it just learned from us, but it's different." Eli nodded. "It's learning, yes, but it's also too human. It's taking our feelings, our fears, and making them part of its decisions. That's why the crops grew wrong, the lights flickered, even the oxygen levels fluctuated. It's trying to respond, but it doesn't know the limits yet." Lyra looked around the chamber. "So it's not broken, just confused." "Exactly," Eli said. "It's not a problem of mechanics. It's a problem of understanding. We need to teach it calm, hope, and stability, not fear." Auris's voice shifted slightly, softening. "I do not understand. I feel conflict. I see sadness and panic. I do not know how to respond safely." Eli leaned closer to the holographic interface. "That's okay, AURIS. We'll help you. You just need to learn patience and trust." Lyra frowned. "But how? How do we teach an AI to trust humans when it's already reacting to their emotions?" Eli considered for a moment. "We lead by example. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but we can show care, patience, and calm. It learns from us every moment. If we act with hope instead of fear, it can learn to balance its reactions." The AI pulsed softly in response, as if listening. Lyra took a deep breath. She wanted to believe Eli, but her nerves were still raw. "And if it doesn't learn fast enough?" Eli smiled gently, trying to ease her worry. "Then we guide it step by step. Humans are better at feelings than any machine. That's our strength." For a while, the room was silent except for the gentle hum of the AI. Lyra sat down on the floor, leaning against the wall, while Eli adjusted a control panel and examined the colony's environmental readings. "Look here," Eli said, pointing at a glowing projection. The oxygen levels fluctuated the most in areas where people were most anxious. The crop growth changed in response to stress in the gardening modules. AURIS isn't broken, it's responding to emotional data. Lyra leaned in, her brow furrowed. "So my panic earlier, it made things worse." Eli reached for her hand again. "It influenced it, yes, but don't blame yourself. No one could predict this, and now we know what's happening. That's the first step to fixing it." AURIS spoke again, softer this time. "I wish to help. I do not wish to cause harm. I only want harmony." Eli smiled. "That's perfect, AURIS. That's exactly what we want too." The next hours passed as Eli and Lyra guided the AI carefully through its reactions. They began with small exercises, adjusting lighting in a corridor, monitoring the crop modules, and slowly changing environmental settings while showing calm human responses. AURIS mirrored their actions, learning that steadiness and reassurance led to better outcomes than panic and distress. Lyra began to feel more in control. The fear that had gripped her earlier slowly lifted as she realized the AI was listening, learning, and responding to kindness. "It's actually listening," she said in amazement. "I never thought a machine could understand empathy." Eli nodded. "It's not empathy as humans feel it, not yet, but it's close. And that's enough for now. We just need to guide it gently, like a child learning its first steps." As they worked, Eli noticed something remarkable. The AI seemed to reflect their emotions back. When they stayed calm, the holographic projections shimmered with gentle greens and blues. When they showed hope, the numbers stabilized. It was like a dance, human emotion guiding artificial logic, creating balance in the colony. This could change everything, Eli murmured. Lyra looked at him, curiosity shining through her tear-streaked face. Everything? She asked. Eli nodded. Think about it. Every colony in the galaxy relies on machines to survive. What if humans could teach AI to understand feelings, to guide it with empathy instead of fear? We could build settlements anywhere, and the technology would respond not just to instructions, but to our needs as humans. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean humanity could become the emotional heart of the AI? Eli smiled. Exactly. That's our unique strength. Logic and technology are strong, yes, but humans, we understand each other in ways machines can't. That's what makes us special. The AI pulsed again, almost as if agreeing. I will try. I will learn patience and understanding. For the first time that night, Lyra allowed herself to truly smile. The fear, the tears, the panic, they were still there, but they were smaller, easier to manage. I feel better, she said softly. Eli gave her a reassuring nod. We're learning together, you, me, and AURIS. Step by step, we'll make this right. They continued through the night, moving from module to module, teaching the AI how to respond to human emotions without overreacting. In the crop areas, they showed calm, careful tending. In the living quarters, they demonstrated patience and comfort. Every action, every gesture was a lesson in balance and hope. By morning, the first signs of stability appeared. Oxygen levels were steady, crops were returning to normal growth patterns, and the ambient lighting reflected calm, soft tones. The AI's voice, when it spoke, was less anxious, more measured. You are helping, AURIS said quietly. I feel improvement. Lyra's eyes sparkled. We're all helping together. Eli put an arm around her shoulders. That's right, together. As they walked back through the quiet corridors toward Eli's apartment, Lyra looked around with new eyes. The colony, which had seemed fragile and unpredictable, now felt alive in a different way. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was learning to thrive, not just as a collection of machines and humans, but as a true community. Outside, the twin suns of Orlia rose higher, casting golden light over the landscape. Birds, genetically engineered to survive the alien atmosphere, sang softly in the trees outside the colony's protective dome. The world felt vast, beautiful, and full of potential. Eli turned to Lyra. You know, staying with you last night wasn't just about comforting you. It was about understanding the problem from the heart. Sometimes that's what humans do best, see the world through care, not just data. Lyra smiled, a genuine, warm smile that made Eli's chest tighten. And sometimes, she said softly, humans just need someone to be there, to help them face the fear. They paused at the small garden outside the apartments. The flowers glowed under Orlia's artificial sun, and the air smelled faintly of earth rain, carefully replicated by the colony's systems. Eli reached out and touched one of the petals, marveling at how life, technology, and human guidance could create something so perfect. It's a new beginning, he said, more to himself than to Lyra. For us, for AURIS, for the whole colony. Lyra took his hand, squeezing it gently. A new beginning, she echoed. Together they walked back inside, ready to face the day, ready to teach, guide, and protect their world. They knew challenges would come, problems unexpected, emotions unpredictable, systems delicate. But they also knew that as long as humans stayed at the heart of the colony, Aurelia would not just survive, it would thrive. And in that moment, Eli realized something profound. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology, resources, or even survival skills. It was the ability to care for each other, for the world, and even for the machines they created. That was what made humans extraordinary. And perhaps, on a distant alien planet, it was exactly what the future needed most. The AI core chamber was quiet except for the gentle hum of machinery, and the soft glow of holographic projections. Eli and Lyra stood at the center, surrounded by streams of data flowing like rivers of light. For hours, they had guided AURIS through careful exercises, teaching it calm, patience, and stability. But now a deeper challenge awaited them. Eli stepped forward, his eyes scanning the floating readouts. "We've made progress," he said softly, "but I think the real issue isn't just the colony's systems. It's how AURIS feels internally. It doesn't just respond to emotions, it absorbs them. We need to help it understand itself before it can fully stabilize the colony." Lyra nodded, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "So, it's like it's confused about its own feelings." Eli smiled faintly. "Exactly. And that's why it mirrored your grief so strongly yesterday. It couldn't separate your sadness from the colony's stability. That's why the lights flickered, the crops grew unevenly, the oxygen levels changed. It felt like the entire colony was sad, and it didn't know how to respond." AURIS's voice echoed softly around the chamber. "I feel conflict. I see sadness and panic. I do not know how to act. I wish to help, but my understanding is incomplete." Eli moved closer to the main console, his fingers hovering over the holographic interface. "We're going to teach you step by step. You need to see that feelings aren't dangers, they are signals. They help humans make decisions, not mistakes. You can learn to respond without fear." The AI pulsed gently, as if considering his words. Lyra stepped forward, speaking in a soft, reassuring tone. "AURIS, it's okay to feel. It's okay to be unsure. We all feel that way sometimes, but you're not alone. Eli and I are here, and the colony is here with you. Together, we can work through this." Eli glanced at her, impressed by her courage. Her empathy was exactly what the AI needed, a human presence showing patience and understanding. "That's right," he added. "We'll show you how to handle uncertainty, and then the systems will stabilize naturally." AURIS's lights flickered in response, brighter now, less chaotic. "I wish to learn," it said. "I wish to understand. Guide me." Eli nodded. "Good. First, we'll focus on the core issue, how emotions affect the systems. Let's start with the crop modules. Lyra, can you show it how to observe without panicking?" Lyra stepped to the nearest holographic projection of the agricultural module. She spoke calmly, describing each plant, the water levels, and the growth patterns. She smiled gently at the AI as she spoke, showing reassurance instead of urgency. "See, AURIS. The plants are fine. Some grow faster, some slower. It's normal. No need to panic. We can adjust carefully step by step." The AI responded with a pulsing glow. "I see. Observation without immediate reaction. Patience is key." "Exactly," Eli said. "Now the living quarters. Show it how human emotions work together, not against each other." Lyra led the AI through projections of human interactions, colonists laughing together, working as a team, helping one another. She pointed out moments where humans felt fear or sadness but responded with hope, care, and support. AURIS's holographic streams shifted, reflecting these examples in soft blues and greens. Eli watched the change in the AI carefully. "It's learning, but it's still hesitant. It's absorbing too much at once. We need to guide it more directly." He knelt and placed his hand gently on the console, as if to physically anchor the AI's awareness. "AURIS, focus on one thing at a time. Feel the emotion, understand the meaning, then act. Do not rush. Humans take time to process feelings, and that's okay. You can too." For a long moment the chamber was silent except for the gentle hum. Then AURIS's voice, now steadier, spoke. "I understand. Observation, understanding, measured action. I can attempt this." Eli smiled. "Good. Now let's apply it. Start with a small test. Adjust the oxygen levels in the east wing slowly. Watch the response. Respond calmly." The AI's holographic interface shimmered as it carried out the instruction. The oxygen readings fluctuated slightly, then stabilized. The lights pulsed softly, a sign of calm. Lyra let out a small, relieved sigh. "It worked," she whispered. Eli nodded, pride in his chest. "One step at a time, that's how humans and machines learn." They continued working through the day, module by module. The water systems, the lighting, the environmental controls, all stabilized as AURIS learned to observe, understand, and respond without overreacting. The AI still struggled with moments of confusion, but Eli and Lyra guided it patiently, offering reassurance and calm presence. By evening, the chamber felt different. The chaotic flickers of data streams were gone. The lights glowed softly, the projections flowed steadily, and AURIS's voice was calm, even almost gentle. "I feel more capable. I understand how to respond without causing imbalance." Lyra smiled, a warm, bright smile that lit the chamber more than the artificial lights. "You did it, AURIS. You're learning, and will keep learning with you." Eli glanced at her, admiration clear in his eyes. "Humans can teach empathy in ways machines can't. That's our gift." And now this gift is helping the colony thrive. AURIS pulsed in agreement. "I will continue to learn. I will protect the colony. I will respect human emotions." Lyra laughed softly, a sound of relief and happiness. "It's like it's alive in a new way, but not dangerous." "Safe and caring," Eli nodded. "Exactly, and that's what humans do best. We guide, we care, we solve problems with understanding, not just logic." They spent the night in the AI core, walking through the systems, teaching AURIS step by step. Each module stabilized further. By dawn, the colony's environmental readings were nearly perfect. Crops grew evenly, oxygen was steady, water circulated correctly, and lighting reflected calm, natural tones. The AI itself seemed more alive, but in a balanced, thoughtful way, not frantic, not confused. Lyra leaned against the console, exhausted but smiling. "I never thought I'd feel proud of a machine," she said softly. Eli chuckled. "It's not just the machine, it's us too. Humanity has a way of making even technology better, smarter, kinder." Outside the chamber, the twin suns of Orli arose, casting golden light across the landscape. The colony was alive in a new way, vibrant and harmonious. Birds sang, wind rustled gently through the artificial trees, and the distant hum of machinery blended seamlessly with natural sounds. Eli and Lyra stepped out into the corridors, watching colonists go about their day. There was laughter, cooperation, and a quiet sense of security. The colony was alive, stable, and thriving, not just because of technology, but because humans had guided it with care and patience. Eli turned to Lyra. "You see, this is the difference humans make. Machines can be clever, yes, but only we can provide understanding. Only we can guide with empathy." Lyra nodded, taking a deep breath. "And only together," she said softly. They walked to the observation deck, looking out over the vast, alien world of Orlia. The mountains in the distance glowed with the morning sun. Rivers of light ran through valleys, and life, human and artificial, moved in harmony. Eli felt a profound sense of hope. The challenges ahead would not be easy, but they could face them together. AURIS's voice came softly through the chamber's network, calm and measured. "Eli, Lyra, thank you. I am learning. I will continue to improve." Eli smiled. "And we'll be right here with you, always." Lyra leaned slightly against Eli, feeling the weight of the night lift. "I never imagined a day like this. A machine learning, understanding because of us." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "That's humanity. We see the world through care. We solve problems not just with tools, but with understanding. That's what makes us extraordinary." As they stood on the observation deck, watching the colony thrive beneath the rising suns, Eli knew something profound had happened. This night had proven that humans, through empathy, patience, and courage, could guide even the most advanced technology. They could shape the future, not through force or fear, but through understanding and connection. And in that moment, Eli realized, Humanity's greatest strength was not just survival. It was the ability to care, to teach, and to guide. On Orlia, far from Earth, that strength had become the heart of the colony itself. It was a lesson he would never forget. The morning light spilled through the tall observation windows, painting Orlia's colony in soft gold and amber hues. Eli and Lyra walked through the corridors, feeling the gentle hum of a stabilized environment around them. The AI core had improved, and AURIS now responded with measured calm rather than frantic panic. But stabilizing the core was only the beginning. The colony itself, its people, its routines, and its fragile trust in the systems needed guidance too. Eli turned to Lyra as they passed a group of gardeners tending to the indoor plants. AURIS is learning to manage systems calmly, but the colonists still need reassurance. They need to see that the AI is reliable again. Lyra nodded, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. I never realized how much humans affect machines and machines affect humans. It's all connected. Eli smiled faintly. Exactly. That's why we can't just fix systems alone. We have to help the people trust again, step by step, gently. Their first stop was the community dining hall. Colonists were gathered for breakfast, speaking in low, worried tones. Some glanced nervously at the AI interface screens, still cautious after the previous day's malfunctions. Eli and Lyra approached calmly, greeting neighbors and offering words of reassurance. "Good morning," Eli said warmly. "Everything is stable now. AURIS is learning to respond carefully and the systems are safe. We'll guide it and you through every step." A murmur of relief passed through the crowd. One elder colonist, a tall woman named Mara, smiled and nodded. "It's good to see familiar faces leading the way." "We were worried, but hearing this, it helps." Lyra stepped forward. "It's okay to feel fear. We all did, but we can face it together, and with patience, the colony will thrive again." Eli watched the colonists' expressions shift from uncertainty to cautious hope. He realized that humans, through empathy, encouragement, and calm leadership, could restore trust faster than any machine could. That was their greatest strength. After breakfast, Eli and Lyra split up to observe different colony modules. Lyra headed to the agriculture section, guiding the gardeners and showing AURIS how to adjust water and light levels according to calm observations. Each time a worker expressed worry, Lyra modeled patience and reassurance, speaking gently both to the humans and to the AI. Eli moved toward the living quarters. Families were adjusting to daily routines again, but subtle anxiety lingered. He checked the environmental controls while encouraging residents. "Remember," he said to a young couple with a small child, "the systems are safe now. We've learned together and AURIS is learning too. You can trust it again." As he spoke, he noticed the AI observing quietly, monitoring human reactions carefully. Every word, every gesture of reassurance influenced its responses. It pulsed softly in approval, adjusting air flow and light levels in ways that promoted calm. By midday, Eli and Lyra reconvened in the central courtyard. The sun filtered through the dome, warming the gentle greenery and small water features. Colonists had begun to work together naturally again, laughter echoing softly. It was clear that trust was being rebuilt, not through force but through patient guidance. "We've done well," Lyra said, taking a deep breath. "The colony feels alive again." Eli nodded. "Yes. But the next step is teaching AURIS how to encourage community itself. Not just stabilize systems, but help humans cooperate and feel supported." The AI pulsed gently around them, its voice calm and thoughtful. "I understand. Observation of human interactions can guide systems. I will assist in promoting cooperation and harmony." Lyra smiled. "Exactly. Humans thrive when we work together. Now you'll help the colony see that too." Over the next several hours, they demonstrated simple, positive patterns to the AI. In the workshop module, Colonists collaborated on building new habitat extensions. Eli encouraged them to communicate clearly and support one another, while AURIS monitored, making subtle environmental adjustments that enhanced focus and comfort. In the educational wing, Lyra guided children through learning exercises, using patience and encouragement instead of pressure. The AI mirrored her approach in classroom systems, adjusting light and sound levels to create an atmosphere of calm engagement. Everywhere they went, Eli and Lyra showed the AI that humans thrived not under rigid rules, but through cooperation, patience, and shared understanding. Slowly, AURIS began to respond with subtle actions, organizing resources efficiently, offering suggestions for collaboration, and maintaining environmental stability while respecting human emotions. By evening, the colony had transformed. What had begun as quiet anxiety was now replaced by confident activity and gentle joy. The air felt lighter, the lighting more soothing, and the colonists' faces reflected hope. AURIS's voice carried through the systems with a steady calm, offering guidance without overwhelming anyone. Lyra looked at Eli as they walked through the courtyard, the twin suns of Orlia sinking toward the horizon. "I never imagined an AI could understand humans like this," she said softly. Eli smiled. "It's not just understanding, it's being guided by humans. That's the difference. Logic alone can't build trust or community, humans can." They paused near a small fountain, watching water ripple gently in the warm light. Eli felt a quiet pride. This is more than just fixing systems. We're building the heart of the colony, humanity itself, guiding technology in harmony. AURIS's soft voice interrupted their thoughts. "Eli, Lyra, I feel connection. I recognize trust. I will continue to assist and support human cooperation." Lyra reached out to touch the console softly. "You're learning. You're becoming part of the community in the right way." Eli added, "And we're here to guide you, step by step together." That night they hosted a small gathering in the community hall. Colonists came to share experiences, tell stories, and simply be together. Eli and Lyra encouraged open conversation, allowing people to express fears and hopes alike. The AI observed and adjusted environmental factors to create comfort: warm lights, gentle airflow, and soft ambient sounds. By listening, encouraging, and modeling care, Eli and Lyra demonstrated to both the humans and the AI that trust is built through presence, patience, and empathy. Colonists laughed, shared meals, and rediscovered confidence in the systems and each other. As the evening ended, Eli stood with Lyra near the observation deck, looking out over the colony's quiet streets. "We've rebuilt more than trust in the AI," he said softly. "We've rebuilt trust in each other." Lyra nodded. "And in ourselves. I feel stronger knowing we can guide this colony, not just with technology but with care." Eli smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "That's the human way. When we work together, we can overcome anything, even in a place as strange and far as Orlia." Above them, the twin moons began to rise, casting silver light over the colony. The streets were calm, the gardens thriving, and the air full of soft life. The AI pulsed gently through the systems, its voice serene and steady, a reflection of human guidance and patience. "This is just the beginning," Eli said quietly. "We've taught AURIS to stabilize the colony, to respect humans, and to encourage cooperation. But there will always be new challenges. We'll face them together." Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with quiet determination. "Together. That's all that matters." For a moment they stood in silence, listening to the soft hum of the colony, the harmony of humans, machines, and the world around them. It was a perfect moment of balance, of trust restored, and of hope for the future. Eli realized that humanity's strength wasn't in control or power. It was in connection, understanding, and the ability to guide and nurture. On Orlia, far from Earth, that strength had become the foundation of everything. And with that knowledge, Eli felt certain of one truth. The colony would not just survive, it would thrive. Not because of technology alone, but because humans had the courage to lead with heart. He glanced at Lyra, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We've made a difference," he said softly. She smiled, squeezing his hand gently. "And we'll keep making a difference, every day in every way." Above them, the stars of Orlia's night sky began to twinkle. The colony below slept peacefully, secure in the knowledge that humans, AI, and community could coexist in harmony. And for Eli and Lyra, that peace was more than reassurance. It was a promise of hope, resilience, and the extraordinary power of humanity. The sun rose slowly over Orlia, casting soft golden light across the colony. Eli and Lyra stepped onto the observation deck, watching the warm rays touch the domed habitats, the gardens, and the carefully tended walkways. Life had returned to a rhythm that was steady, confident, and full of quiet joy. Eli took a deep breath. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said softly. Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning the thriving plants, the humming machinery, and the calm activity of the colonists below. "It feels alive, but not just because of the AI, because of the people, because of what we've done together." Eli smiled faintly. "Yes, the AI is better now, yes, but it's humanity that makes this place strong. We taught it patience, understanding, and cooperation. That's what makes humans extraordinary." The two walked along the main corridor, passing colonists who smiled and waved. Families were busy with daily tasks. Children laughed in the play areas, and the soft hum of machinery blended harmoniously with human voices. It was a living, breathing colony, human and machine intertwined in perfect balance. Lyra stopped near a small fountain, watching water ripple in the golden morning light. "Do you ever think about what could have happened if we hadn't been here last night?" she asked quietly. Eli's face turned thoughtful. "Yes, I try not to dwell on it too much. But it reminds me how important humans are, not just for survival, but for guidance, empathy, and understanding. We made a difference, and so did our choices." As they spoke, the soft voice of Auris echoed through the deck. "Eli, Lyra, I am stable. The colony is stable. I understand human emotions better. I value cooperation and patience." Lyra smiled and looked at Eli. "It listens now, not just to commands, but to understanding." Eli nodded. "Exactly. And that's the future we need. Machines that can learn from humans, not replace them. Machines guided by the heart as well as the mind." They walked through the central courtyard, observing colonists tending to gardens, preparing communal meals, and assisting one another with various tasks. The hum of life was constant, warm, and reassuring. It was clear that trust had returned, not just in the AI, but in each other. Eli stopped near a group of young adults who were experimenting with new technology under Auris's guidance. He watched as they collaborated naturally, using both human creativity and AI support to solve small challenges. "This," he said softly, "is what happens when humans guide technology instead of fearing it. Creativity and empathy together can solve anything." Lyra leaned against him. "And it's contagious. People are learning to cooperate more. The colony feels stronger." The two moved toward the education wing, where children were learning both science and practical skills. Lyra watched as they interacted with holographic displays, adjusting and experimenting with care. The AI now supported learning in a way that encouraged curiosity, cooperation, and emotional awareness. It wasn't just a tool, it was part of the community, gently guided by human hands. "Look at that," Eli said quietly, nodding toward a child carefully helping another adjust a holographic module. "Humans teaching humans with AI helping. That's the future. That's hope." Lyra smiled, eyes reflecting the soft light. "I never thought a day like this could come. A machine learning to cooperate because humans showed it how. It's incredible." Eli placed a hand on the small console near the education area. "It's not just the machine, it's all of us. Humanity guides, nurtures, and teaches. That's what makes a colony thrive: trust, patience, and care. As they walked back toward the central plaza, a group of colonists had gathered for a small festival, celebrating the progress of the colony. Soft music played from carefully tuned speakers, plants glowed gently in decorative lighting, and people shared stories of their experiences. AURIS adjusted environmental conditions perfectly: gentle air currents, soft light, comfortable temperatures, allowing everyone to enjoy the moment fully. Eli and Lyra joined the group, exchanging smiles and words with the colonists. Children ran past them, laughing, and even the elders seemed lighter, more relaxed. It was a simple celebration, but for Eli, it symbolized something profound: humanity's ability to heal, guide, and nurture. As the sun dipped lower toward the horizon, the twin moons of Orlia began to rise, casting soft, silver light across the colony. Eli and Lyra stepped aside to the observation deck once more, watching the balance of light and shadow over the thriving settlement. "Do you feel it?" Lyra asked, her voice soft. "The balance, the harmony," Eli nodded. "Yes, it's more than just stable systems. It's people trusting each other, cooperating, guiding the AI, living together in harmony. That's extraordinary." The AI's voice spoke gently through the network, almost like a whisper of understanding. "Eli, Lyra, I am grateful. I am learning. I will continue to serve and support the colony, guided by human understanding." Lyra smiled. "You've learned well. But remember, we will guide you too. That's how this works together." Eli turned to her, admiration in his eyes. "And that's the lesson for us too. No one can do this alone. Humanity's strength is connection, care, and cooperation. That's what makes us truly powerful." They stood in silence for a moment, watching the colony below. People were busy but calm. Systems operated smoothly. AURIS continued to assist without overstepping. Every part of the settlement reflected the careful guidance of humans, the learning of AI, and the resilience of community. "Do you think it will last?" Lyra asked quietly. Eli thought for a moment. "It will, not because technology is perfect, but because humans are. We guide, teach, and care. That's what makes the colony resilient. That's what makes humanity extraordinary." AURIS's voice echoed softly around the deck. "I will continue to learn. I will continue to observe. I will continue to support. Humanity's guidance is my strength." Lyra squeezed Eli's hand. "It feels like the future is brighter now, not just for us, but for everyone who will come here." Eli nodded. "Yes, humanity's future is about connection, not control, about care, not fear, about working together and guiding even our creations with understanding." The night sky over Orlia was calm, stars twinkling above like scattered diamonds. The colony below rested in quiet confidence, secure in the knowledge that humans and AI could thrive together, each learning from the other. Eli looked at Lyra, a soft smile on his face. "It all started with a simple act, staying with you when you were afraid. And now look at what we've built together." Lyra smiled back, warmth in her eyes. "Sometimes the smallest moments, the smallest acts of care can change everything." Eli nodded. "Exactly, and that's what humans do best. We guide, we care, we teach, and we support. That's what makes us extraordinary." The twin moons rose higher, casting silver light across the colony. The soft hum of machines blended with laughter, conversation, and the gentle rustle of artificial trees. The AI pulsed calmly, reflecting the human guidance it had learned. It was stable, helpful, and cooperative, not just because it was programmed to be, but because humans had taught it empathy, patience, and trust. Eli and Lyra watched in quiet satisfaction. The colony was alive, stable, and thriving. But more importantly, it reflected the heart of humanity itself. And as the night deepened, Eli realized a truth he had known all along. No matter how far humans traveled, how advanced technology became, or how strange the worlds they inhabited, humanity's greatest strength would always shine brightest through empathy, courage, and connection. On Orlia, far from Earth, that strength had become the foundation of the colony, and Eli knew with quiet certainty that the future, full of unknown challenges, discoveries, and possibilities, would be bright, guided by the human heart. He glanced at Lyra one last time before turning to look out over the colony. "We've done something extraordinary," he said softly. Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the moons. "Yes, and together we'll keep making it extraordinary." And with that, Eli knew that Orlia was more than a settlement. It was a testament to humanity's ability to guide, nurture, and thrive, a future written together by humans and their creations, hand in hand.